oh, their system got hacked and their entire business has gone down. I remember when Cox went down because they got hacked. And I was sitting at my desk going, give me back the internet, give me back the internet, because I needed to get my work done. But they got hacked and their whole system went down. So for business continuity, whether we're small or large, we want to have a cybersecurity plan. And then protection against evolving threats. I don't know about you all, but the business that we run, you may not be the expert of cybersecurity. Maybe you are, but maybe you're someone who has, you're just dealing with vehicles for the government, maybe, or you've got a bakery. You still have to have your protection against these evolving threats. Even though you may not be the cybersecurity expert, you still need to know how to protect yourself, your coworkers or your employees, and your customers. Overall, a cybersecurity plan is essential for protecting the business assets, maintaining compliance with regulations, preserving customer trust, ensuring business continuity, and staying ahead of evolving cyber threats. So today's training is going to provide a comprehensive guidance on multiple types of data breaches and provides best practices to assist micro and small businesses with implementing effective controls that safeguard against cyber attacks. So again, we're going to be talking about phishing, not the merry fish. No, not that fish. Phishing with cyber attacks, smishing, and vishing. So as this is a training, we do have terminal learning objectives, TLOs, and ELOs. And each topic enabling learning objectives is ELO, and each topic has an ELO. The overall objective today is to help you recognize the methods that cyber attackers use to access company data and identify steps to protect micro and small businesses from these type of cyber attacks. Under our topic 1, don't feed the fish, the learning objectives is to identify phishing tricks and use best practices to protect your business from data theft. Under topic 2, traffic is heavy on the mobile phone highway, don't get smished. This topic will help you identify smishing attempts and use best practices to protect your business from data theft. And then topic 3, Vishing, you had me at hello. This topic will help you identify Vishing scams and use best practices to protect your business from data theft. But before we get into those topics, we want to talk about the prior discussions that we've had with small businesses. Again, we conducted a survey and we did a roundtable to discuss the cybersecurity readiness for small business. The study and roundtable aim to foster a comprehensive understanding of the cybersecurity landscape with small business sector. We had over 60 businesses that attended, and they helped us to identify key challenges of the small business, get opinions from essential small business stakeholders, and then get insights from those companies that offer security solutions for small businesses, and to outline training strategies for enhancing the preparedness and cybersecurity readiness for small businesses. So we looked at several different things within that roundtable and our survey. We looked at the threat landscape analysis. What were the prevailing threats faced by these small businesses? What insights were highlighted, such as the prominence of phishing attacks, ransomware, data breaches, small business email compromise, malware infections, ransomware attacks, and identity theft. Those were all significant concerns that came out of those discussions, which is why our the series of training that we're doing is focusing in on those topics. We also look at resource constraints. If you're a small business and maybe you've got a micro business where you've got 3 people there and all of you are bakers and you're just worried about baking and making sure your customer data stays secure, but really your job is to bake, not really cybersecurity. So what resources are out there for small businesses where they can get a robust cybersecurity plan? We looked at financial constraints, lack of expertise, and inadequate awareness. And those were all identified as major challenges. We looked at the importance of education and training. There's so much data and information out there about cybersecurity, but what's correct for my business? What's correct for the people that I work with? Do I have them take all the training, part of the training? Where do I find the training? So we're going to be looking at all of that as well. And the need for accessible and tailored training programs for employees emerged as a priority. And then we looked at the significance of collaborative initiatives among small businesses, government agency, and cybersecurity experts, sharing best practices and resources. And which is part of the reason we are doing these, so that you all can, sorry, I just saw somebody else come in the room. So that you all can also talk with each other about your cybersecurity needs. And then we looked at regulatory compliance as well, and trying to understand what regulatory compliance is needed for your specific business, for small businesses, micro businesses, what type of compliance are we dealing with when it comes to the data. And then we looked at the key issues, and we highlighted the following key issues and challenges. That cybersecurity training are best practices for multi-hat workforce. I know when I started with Chitra, we were 2 people. And so that means that the boss and I, we were doing everything from sending all the emails, answering all the phones, creating all the video content that we had when we first started, going out and doing business development, going to all the meetings, invoicing, data, trying to keep it secure. That was just between the 2 of us trying to do all that, because we were a multi-hat faceted group at that time. And we didn't have the finances to go out and hire somebody to just do cybersecurity for us. So we had to learn it together. There should be resources and policies that small business employees must use for continued training. Things like LinkedIn Learning has a lot of great courses on it for cybersecurity. And there are other things like eLearning Brothers. They have some great assets for cybersecurity awareness as well. So trying to figure out what you have. I know that a lot of the HR companies that you go to for HR, they also have training built into as part of the benefits that they offer to the employees. I forget the name of the one that's really popular out there for the HR. But anyway, you always, if you are outsourcing your HR, you can always ask them as well if they've got additional training that you can have access to help you and your employees. We also talked about the breaking down concept, tools, and policies to easy understand language. So a lot of these things, like we talk about data reconnaissance, that may not be a term that is familiar to you. So trying to break down terms like that into something that's better, easy to be understood by everyone who has a small business. And then looking at business personnel who outsource to IT. Just like I mentioned, you could outsource your HR. You may also be outsourcing your IT, but still you need as a business to understand the language so that you can have communications with that person. Them going and saying, oh, you need to have this, you need to protect against data reconnaissance. That means nothing to you. You need to at least be able to understand what they're talking about. And then also training employees about cybersecurity best practices. So one of the big issues that we live in this after the pandemic, we live in a world where we do work both in the office, at home. I was at a camping ground and I was on my computer doing work. So everywhere we go now, we can take our laptops, our phones, our tablets, and we can do work from there. The question comes down is the Wi-Fi that you're accessing when you're remote working have the same protections as the Wi-Fi that you're accessing via your office? And so having your employees understand the importance of protecting their own personal Wi-Fi, are not getting onto public Wi-Fis so that someone cannot hack that public Wi-Fi, is very important. I watched a guy in a video. He set up in a park outside of a Starbucks, and he spoofed the Starbucks Wi-Fi. And anybody who got onto his free Wi-Fi that looked like it was from Starbucks, he hacked everybody. He got everybody's information and was able to go into their computers and steal passwords and everything. And it happens. So your employees knowing that maybe they shouldn't get onto some of these, or making sure they have the correct anti-malware, antivirus software on their computers to protect that, is really important. I know that a lot of people will oh yeah, I've got it running. I've got the software running, but they're not doing the continual checks that need to happen on their system. Are they running those scans? And then training for employees using already available software. So we've developed these 5 cybersecurity training sessions for small businesses to go over this information. And at this time, to go over our first topic about don't feed the fish, I'm going to hand it over to Crystal.
Thank you.
Yeah, you skip way ahead.
Skip way ahead. How did that happen?
Oh, yeah, you're at the end.
I'm at the end, right? Let's see.
Clicker says.
We're gonna say that's what exactly it is. Okay. Now we're at the right place. Technology, right? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Crystal Nolan, and I am a member of Team Chitra. I work with Chitra Productions, and I am very happy to be here today with you for this training. Now, we're going to go through topic 1. Don't feed the fish. So the World Wide Web is this. Yes. All right. The World Wide Web is a space that connects people with businesses, services, and information that really ties into our modern living in this day and time. Social engineering is a byproduct of the convenience that technology affords us. Now, bad actors use social engineering methods to trick individuals into sharing personal and confidential information. These tricksters use the stolen information to gain access to money or data to rip off your company and put you at risk for additional attacks. To protect your business, it is imperative that you recognize the traits of a phishing scam and that you don't feed the fish. Okay. All right, so phishing. Actually, I think I went ahead one too many. No, yeah. One more?
There.
Okay, that's where I should be. Okay, I should have stayed there. Okay, so phishing. So one method that cyber attackers use to threaten your business cybersecurity is phishing. And phishing occurs when you receive an email designed to convince you to perform an action. The phisher intends to lure you with their bait and leave you high and dry, technically. A phishing scam typically involves an email that includes a link to click that will request your username, your password, maybe an account number, or other types of private data. And then this stolen data is then transmitted to scammers for wicked reasons. Now, why does phishing work? Phishing takes advantage of the tendencies of the human brain to rely on familiarity and confidence when making decisions. So as you work and play daily, your brain prioritizes processing duties. So you have necessary biological functions and many deliberate conscious tasks that use much of the brain's energy. So often, the brain defaults to using less power for seemingly insignificant work, like opening an email. Psychologists have studied these defaults, and they reveal weaknesses in the way that we human beings can think. So now let's tread water and discuss the 3 most frequent behavioral strategies that are used in phishing attempts. So these are theories to know when swimming in deep water. The Dunning-Kruger effect. We all know that person who thinks that they know everything there is to know about everything. And if you don't know someone like that, maybe you may be that person, right? Okay, but so actually the subject that knowing everything or being a what we call a know-it-all is the subject of a study conducted by two scientists to prove what we actually don't know. And this study, called the Dunning-Kruger effect, reveals that individuals often do not realize deficiencies and gaps in their knowledge base. The effect causes a person to be overconfident in their knowledge of a subject. For example, most people think they can never be scammed with an email. But think again, because just like the tides, cyber attacks are constantly changing. Now, the next behavior we have that social engineers use is that overconfidence bias. So let's be sure that we all understand confidence is good, right? But overconfidence can get you caught in a rip current. In fact, the overconfidence bias reveals that humans tend to miscalculate situations and abilities. For instance, a person believes that their business may be too small to be the focus of a phishing attack, or that an email filter will protect them from all email scams. If they've not run a cybersecurity test, then the person is really not sure. Overconfidence can make a phishing attempt possible and bring about a circle of sharks. Next, we'll talk about the available heuristic theory. So this is another behavior that phishing thrives on. This is the inclination to refer to situations and memories that quickly come to mind as facts. They may not be facts, but you think of them that way. So imagine that you have received an email from a royal, prince or princess, who promises support and profits beyond your wildest dreams if you partner with them and let them use your bank account to hold some of their international money. So you know this is a trick and you don't fall for it. So another fisher tries to catch you and you don't take the bait for that scam either because you know what you're doing. And since it's similar to the last, there's another royal who needs help and has to switch funds from one country to the other. That's a scam. But a third attempt pulls you in because it uses a different strategy. So this attempt appears to come from a supervisor that you work with. And you transfer several thousands of dollars from the company to your supervisor, who in this email says that they've lost their credit card while at a well-publicized conference. So you send the money. You think you should be employee of the year. You were Johnny on the spot. You've saved your supervisor. But what you find out is that that email came from an imposter. And so you've just released thousands of funds from your company's account to a social engineer, a hacker. Now, the last behavior we'll talk about is the halo effect. So I'm quite sure some of you here probably prefer certain brands, shop at certain stores. You may have some certain entertainers or just well-known writers or folks, scientists that you would like to invite to dinner at your house. This is what scientists call the halo effect. So your impression of a brand, a store, or a person affects how you think and your behavior, making some people susceptible to phishing ripoffs. Phishing scammers are good at using your favorite things to trap you. Deep discounts, free merchandise, and a contest to meet your favorite celebrity might convince you to take a chance, and guess what? Click that link, okay? So now let's talk about types of phishing. There are two prevalent types of phishing, and they include spear phishing and whale phishing. So now let's dive in, since we're working with the water allegories, and take a look at the differences between the two types. So how does spear phishing work? Spear phishing targets a specific individual or a group of individuals, and it's an attempt to obtain information to get into a company's data system. For example, in addition to potentially requesting your personal information, a spear phishing attempt may request a password or remote access to your network. Sometimes the attempt will invite you to click a link and download and what you think is an antivirus program, but really it's a fake link that will, instead of downloading antivirus, will actually download a virus. So there's that part. Now, these emails may appear to originate from a colleague in your company, or maybe the head executive of your company. If there are signs that you're being phished, you should never reply or click the link. One way to avoid being spear phished is to check the sender's email for inconsistencies, right? Okay, so now, whale phishing. How does whale phishing work? Whale phishing, also known as whaling, is a phishing attempt that targets high-ranking officials within a business. If you are an owner or an executive officer, you'd better beware. This method of social engineering is geared towards using collected data to send emails that seem legitimate. A person's online profile and an organization's website often provide the perfect setup for catching the whale. The phisher captures facts and uses them to convince the victim that the email is authentic. Once the whaler's guard is down, they click a link and download an attachment that installs malware. These links and downloads sometimes allow an organization's computer systems to be remotely controlled and invaded. Now, whaling attempts are usually used to gain access to private systems or people with very specialized information about business data. So, if you suspect a whaling attempt, do not reply or click the link. Use an alternate method of communicating to verify with the sender that the request is valid. Now, moving along, stay alert and watch out for piranhas. Now, there are ways to avoid being a phishing victim, and awareness is the first step. Pay careful attention to emails that include the following traits: an impersonal, generic greeting, a vague subject line, unusual content or request in the body of the email. Also, look out for spelling and grammar errors. And last but certainly not least, you want to be suspicious of irrelevant links or attachments, because like we said before, they can be a vehicle for malware. Now, how can my business avoid phishing attacks? We talk about this. Phishing attacks and malware, it seems almost, wow, overwhelming. Well, what can we do? So the following industry best practices can help your business avoid attacks. The Federal Communications Commission, we know them, the FCC, right? They recommend that all micro and small businesses develop a cybersecurity plan. You're going to hear that several times today. It's very important. So according to the FCC, a company's cybersecurity plan should include the following actions: One, training employees in security protocols. Make certain that all of your employees are familiar with the appropriate internet use and can identify phishing schemes. Even establish processes for handling sensitive customer data and other information. And I want to tell you really quickly, some companies today utilize special services, right? And so you may be open your company email and you see an email that looks suspect or sus, as the kids say. And this email may actually have been generated by an administrator with your company. And it may be a test for you to see if you're going to follow through and click the link or send the information or download the attachment. And guess what happens if you happen to not have your guard up that day and you click that link? Then you may be attending a mandatory cybersecurity training for your business, right? Because of course they have to make sure that you're prepared. So training employees, each and every employee is very important. Your employees are your front line to protect your business from being stolen by cyber hackers. So the second thing that the FCC recommends that you do is protecting computers, networks, and business records from phishing attacks with the latest verified updates, right? We all know when we get those notifications, you have to have the latest security software patches. Make sure that your operating system is working correctly and your web browsers, make sure that they're all sturdy so they can do what they're supposed to do and defend your business against attacks. The third recommendation is providing strong firewall security when connecting to the World Wide Web to help prevent anyone from unauthorized access to your company's data, which if you're growing a company is the most important thing to you, right? This is directly connected to your livelihood. The fourth recommendation, developing an action plan. Oh, there we are. That's that word plan again, right? Developing an action plan for mobile devices can reduce security risk if you require password protection, data encryption, and security apps. Very important. Fifth recommendation, backing up copies of critical business data. That's the company function that should be done regularly, diligently, habitually, right? And there are timers and things that are associated with some of the software that we use that can help to remind you when that backup time, and you can preset those things so they will back up in the proper places. Number 6, preventing unauthorized physical access to company computers is tantamount to security. As devices like laptops and iPads, they can be easily lost or stolen. So it's very important to know where they are and who's using them and who has access to them. Securing individual users' accounts that require strong passwords, that's another way to manage security and limit the damage if an attack occurs. It is so easy. It's so easy, okay, to want to use the same password, but it's not a great practice. Okay, so now moving along, the FCC also recommends that you isolate payment systems from other less secure systems. Also, is it? Oh, there you go. Thank you very much. I apologize for that. I'm so excited to give you this information. So again, it's important to separate your specialty systems, your payment systems from other systems, since we didn't see that on the screen then. All right. And number 9, controlling employee access to data and managing the authority to install software will also help to prevent phishing. Everyone, if say we're talking about small businesses, so maybe you have 5 or 6 employees, but maybe only 2 of them need to have administrative access to downloading information. Not everyone should be able to download something to your business system. So that's very important. And number 10, requiring multi-factor authentication and utilizing, again, those unique passwords. And regardless of how unique your password is, guess what the FCC says you should do? You should change it every 3 months. So you're gonna come up with all of the unique letter and combinations, lowers and capital letters. And there are some software that will help suggest to you good passwords, right? Okay, and that will definitely increase your cybersecurity on your system. Now, this FCC information, you can access this in a free cyber planner, and you can actually go on the FCC site and you can create and customize your business's cybersecurity plan. There's that word again, right? And it really help you out. So please visit fcc.gov/cyber planner. Now, hey, sometimes it happens to all of us. We get caught in deep water. You need a rescue. What do, right? And so with that, your response must be swift. If your company or one of your employees has been phished, if you have a cybersecurity plan in place, use it. If you don't, the following steps should be taken immediately. Now, you want to first secure any equipment that is related to that phishing event. You want to disconnect the networks, devices, and other equipment from the internet immediately. You want to change your passwords and your access codes if needed, and as soon as the coast is clear. You also want to report the attack to some of your personnel, the authorities, and any third parties if necessary. Now, depending on the type of attack, it may be necessary to set up fraud alerts or credit freezes so that if something has happened and someone has access to your financial accounts, they can't wipe you out. Correct cybersecurity vulnerabilities via using those multi-factor authentication pieces, updating your protections, and training, or guess what? Retraining your employees. Lastly, for this section, I want to say, don't be ashamed to ask for help. Many qualified IT experts can throw you a floatable and help you get back to safety if you find yourself in a phishing position or in a phishing scam. All right, so with that, here we go. Knowledge check 1. And I want to encourage you all that are with us in Zoom and with us in person that we're going to go through the knowledge checks, write your answers in the notes section of your workbook. And then towards the end of the training, we're going to go through and review all of the answers for the knowledge checks at once, okay? All right, so knowledge check 1. A phishing scam typically involves an email designed to convince you to perform an action. First choice is true. Second choice is false. Jot down what you think that answer is. This is knowledge check number 1. A phishing scam typically involves an email designed to convince you to perform an action. True or false? Knowledge check 2. A blank should include, oh, thank you. A blank should include training employees in security protocols. The first option is a Dunning-Kruger. The second option is a cybersecurity plan. And the third option is a Black Friday sale. Again, knowledge check 2, the question is, a blank should include training employees and security protocols. First option is Dunning-Kruger, second, cybersecurity plan, and third, Black Friday sale. Okay, so you all have your answers written down. We'll review them, as I said, later on in the training. Let's review the key takeaways. Bad actors use social engineering attacks, social engineering methods to trick individuals into sharing personal and confidential information. Phishing occurs when you receive an email designed to convince you to perform an action. Phishing takes advantage of the tendencies of the human brain to rely on familiarity and confidence when making decisions. Spear phishing targets a specific individual or a group of individuals. Whale phishing, also called whaling, is a phishing attack that targets high-ranking officials within a business. It is recommended that micro and small businesses develop a cybersecurity plan. Very important. If your company or one of your employees has been phished, your response must be swift. And with that, we are moving to tabletop exercise, our first tabletop exercise. Okay, now this tabletop exercise is in 2 parts. So don't leave your ruby slippers in Emerald City. Let's put what you've learned in place and let's see if you can pull back the curtain and spot the scam. So now for this exercise, you're going to see 2 emails that appear to be from Norton, well-known cybersecurity software provider. One of them is a phishing email. Well, you're going to review both emails and you're going to carefully jot down anything that raises suspicions. Now you're going to have 3 minutes to investigate each email, and then we will discuss your answers. Now, while you are investigating these emails and scrutinizing these emails, ask yourself a few questions. This is very important. Do sections of the email look suspicious? Is there anything in the to or the from that looks odd? Is there anything in the subject that does not look right? Is there anything in the body of the email that doesn't look right? And remember, when we're looking at these emails, we're also looking for grammar errors and spelling errors and things of that nature, right? Okay, so we'll give you that 3 minutes to review the first email.
I think the emails are one of the most common ways to phish. This is the very entry point. And this is not only from these antivirus companies, but you can receive all the emails from the technical, technical support companies, from the Microsoft, from the HP, Dell, Apple, and so on. So there are different companies who the people impersonate them. So there are multiple things once you receive email. And for the smishing, you will see in the next session for smishing, when you receive SMS. So this is very common. So when your employees or somebody, if you receive an email, just see if this email I receive every time on our email addresses. But we just see multiple things. Subject line, inside, who is sending, what is the main context they are sending. You will see this email and you will see the same email, okay? And you will find out. You can just word.
You can go, okay, let's move to the next.
So the main thing, just go to the previous one, you can see the note run. If note run is sending emails, and not only note run, but if Microsoft is sending email, HP is sending email, Apple is sending email, whatsoever the company is sending email, they will use their domain or email address. Okay? They will never send you email address from the Gmail, they will send AOL or other companies. Impossible. Why Nortron will send you email from the Gmail? Okay? Even though sometimes they impersonate their email, so they just use the email, but they hide their own background, they hide their own email addresses. And sometimes if they will give you the links where you can click, before going to click on a link, just go through the whole context. Did you ever sign up? Because some of the people receive these emails and they say you already, so just see, have you ever purchased Nortron? Okay, have you ever purchased any antivirus? If you did not have any Nortron, then why you receive an email? So the context is also important. Not only subject, not only email, the context is also important. Okay, so you can just group the flip between these two, you can see the context. There are so many things which a person or employee has to do to begin with.
Right. And also, I'm about to turn it over to Safdar for questions. Also, remember those questions that we talked about, what you're looking for. So which email is fake? And I'm gonna transition to Safdar as you all, what do you think? Which email is real and which
So,
email is fake?
This one is the email, if you just go through from email address. Okay, who sent the email? You can go through and see on the subject line. So the person who is sending the email is noreply@gmail.com. Okay. And the previous email, if you just go to the previous one,
Speak up.
so if you just go to the previous, noreply@email.norton.com. Okay, this looks legit. It's legit. Okay. And the previous one, you can see no reply given. And the subject line, what does subject line say? The subject line says that, okay, you have been invited to install Norton small businesses. The second subject line says, okay, new vulnerability is discovered and protection updates. So you have to check. Did you ever install Norton? Yes or no? Then just go through the next rest of the, see, so the subject matter is done. Now you can go through whole email. So there are multiple things the employees must know before going to take any action. Not only subject matter, but also the whole, so that you can see, so the context, if the context is meeting with the subject line or not. Because the context, as it says, Norton recently discovered new vulnerabilities. So, okay, what we have to do with the new vulnerabilities? We never installed Norton. If we install Norton, then before going to see, did you get email from where? So email.norton@gmail.com. And you will find multiple mistakes because the people who are impersonating, they can never go through all the emails and the context, how they have to write, what are the grammatical mistakes and so on. Norton will never do all these mistakes. Yeah. So the second one, definitely you will go through and see, second one is always the fake one. Once you click, so phishing is entry point to your business data, to your compromise. Phishing is the very initial one. Always, you will receive email, you will receive messages, and this is the very first point of the social engineering. Social engineering is a very huge, have so many, I don't know, maybe we have time, I can take only 1 minute. If you have time, just go through the Kevin Mitnick, who was one of the hacker, and then become the expert in the dealing with the companies to give them the services, how they can secure. So he provided services to the. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from
Do you have any
anyone?
questions? Any question online? No? Okay. So Kevin Mitnick he was one of the best social engineers. He the master company, Visa company hired him to find out the vulnerabilities in their system, in their building. And they did not give him any access. But he went to their server room in their main secure building. How did he go through? He went to the building and on the upper floor, he contacted the lady who was contacting. And said, we want to rent the whole floor, upper floor on the building. She said, yeah, we will be happy to give you the space. So they talked about the businesses, we want to start this business and this, okay. how our employees can enter the building. She said, do we need to make keys? How many copies? I have 100 employees. Can you just give me 100 copies of the keys to enter the building? She said, no, we don't need to have the keys. You can just take this card. And you can just take this card and make the copies, you can give it to the employee. So can I see your card? So he got the card, he put it here. Oh, it's very beautiful. And return back. And actually in this one, there was a reader. He read all the information. He entered there, enter the building, entry point, then went to the employees, near the employees, he read their all of their, the access cards. So RFID cards are very easy to hack. I can hack your card if you are 2 meters or 2 feet away from me. And if you are very near to me, if you are in the sink, in the washroom, the restroom, we can stand each other. I have the bag and the reader is there. Please.
So Brad is curious. He feels like one does look a little suspect, but he says that 2B is definitely phishing. But he is curious kind of about the download button on the first one, and is that suspect?
Yeah, so just go through. Okay, so download button doesn't give you any information. You can look at the download, doesn't give you any information. What information does it give you if you just roll over on the download button? Never click. Just roll over the button and the bottom you will see where it is going to take you. What link, what URL it is going to take you. If it's going to take you to the Northron, it's good. If it is going to take you any other website, never click. Don't click anything. Before going to click see, where does this the URL is going to take you? Okay. So I was going to give you the Captain Mitnick. He went to the building. He got access to their server room. He entered the server room. Even then he got all the passwords and he gave all the report to the company, the visa company, that I entered your room, the server room at this date, this time, and these are my pictures. So social engineering is a very huge thing. Our businesses, our employees doesn't know, but the very first thing our employees must know is the phishing. And email is a very big one. Please go ahead.
Okay, any other questions that came in, Gene, or anybody else have any questions here?
Please go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna try to get the camera to come back. Nah, Chris, oh yeah, there it goes. All right, so we've gone over phishing and now we're gonna be talking about smishing. And smishing is, of course, through your cell phone, through text messages. So I don't know about you all, but I use my cell phone for everything. And it's the one thing that most people are like, oh, where did I lose my phone at? Where's my phone at? Where's my phone at? Because it has so much of our lives on it. And so that actually leaves us vulnerable when we're just checking through text messages that we get. So the smisher wants to acquire your personal information to access your phone and everything it knows about you, to include your work and personal emails, your banking services, and take care of other important business on your phone, which then can lead to vulnerabilities. It may entice you to open a link and enter specific information to check a charge, claim a prize, or prevent a consequence. If you get a text message from a number that you don't know and you suspect it may be a smishing attempt, do not reply, do not click on the link. As mentioned before, social engineers are constantly devising new swindles. In fact, caller ID spoofing, as we saw in the video with Kevin, happens when a smisher hijacks a phone number or uses a number saved in your contacts to deceive you. There are warning signs and traffic cones all along the brick road. If you pay attention, hopefully you can stay in your lane. Cyber experts say you can avoid smishing attempts by backing up your phone's data, always using verified security updates, making sure those are being applied, and making sure they're from your mobile provider, and opting out of storing credit card numbers on your phone. And you can look out for the following warning signs if you are being attacked. So that includes a text message that appears to be from a member that is from a number that is not a phone number. So sometimes you'll receive those that have just a 5 or 6 digits, not a real phone number at all. Now, some of those are legit. but some of them are not. They're smishing attacks. So you have to be aware of what you're looking at. Again, Crystal earlier talked about those behaviors, and the smishers take advantage of those behaviors. Oh, I've seen this. This looks like something from my bank that they sent, and I've never been hacked before. Let me go ahead and click on that, and then you get hacked. A text message that shows an email address. What email address are they using or pretending to use? Does it look suspicious? A message about an unclaimed package, a delayed delivery, or delivery to the wrong address. I get these all the time. They always want to tell me that I have a package. And a couple times I've been like, do I have a package? What did I order? So I have to go back and check my accounts to see, did I actually order anything? Because it could be from FedEx, could be from UPS, but probably not. They offer a lot of times for you to claim a free prize. And then they also have, I don't know how you all had when you were growing up, but chain letters were the bane of my existence growing up. And now they have these new smishing schemes where they use like, get your blessing by passing this along, but that blessing is all your data is taken. That's not really a blessing. But they have those chain text messages that you're supposed to forward to all your contacts. And then it just puts a virus on their system. So a lot of times, if it looks like you have a text message from somebody you know, but they're on a new number, contact that person on the number you know them from. Ask them, did you actually send this? If you feel like the message is suspicious, double check, always double check. Check the links, check where is it headed to, where is it going? Did I actually order something that could have gotten delayed in the mail? Do I trust that this is somebody that I know that sent me this information? So if you happen to fall victim to a scam, you need to take the following steps. 1, do not respond. Delete the message. Not only do I not respond, I also report it as junk, and I block the caller, and I delete the message. Because I don't want them trying to use that number 2 months from now, because I forgot that was a smishing scheme, for them to try and contact me again. Set up multi-factor authentication and change your passwords regularly, as Crystal already mentioned. Download any anti-malware applications. So like we had the Norton example, Norton also has, and so does McAfee, and there's a lot of different antivirus, anti-malware software that also will work on your phones and your mobile devices. Set up fraud alerts or credit freezes, depending on the type of smishing. So I will tell a personal story that happened to me, and this just happened Christmas Eve, which was a fantastic Christmas gift. I received a text message going, thank you so much for spending $1,200 at Best Buy in California. I was in Virginia. I wasn't even in California. And so immediately I got it. I was like, well, I don't know, is this a fake? Or they because it had a link in there, is it a fake? Are they trying to get me to click a link or whatnot? Called my credit card company. Someone had gotten a hold of my credit card number, and they were using it to buy all sorts of gifts for people in California. It was not me at all. And so the text message seemed sus, because I knew I wasn't using the card at all. I was in the middle of the woods with my family. But the text message was real. But had it been fake, I could have caused a problem. But so you always verify. You go back and you look. I'm not going to take the text message's word for it. I'm going to check all my different accounts to make sure that I'm not falling victim to a scam. And in going in and checking my actual account, I found out that someone had stolen my credit card number. Monitor your online accounts for strange activities, like, $1,200 in California, and then report any type of smishing attempt. And I'll tell you about a smishing attempt that happened it was an attempt in our company, didn't go anywhere. But one of our employees, he received an email, started out with a phishing attempt and went to a smishing attempt. So he received an email from our CEO. And at the very top, the name came from the name of our CEO of the company. And it said, hey, his name was Joe. He said, hey, Joe, can you send me your cell phone number? And he was like, oh, not a problem. I'll send my cell phone number. No big deal. It's our boss. Sends cell phone number, and then starts receiving text messages from this person who then wants him to go out and buy gift cards. And that is not something our boss would ever ask for. Crystal mentioned earlier about someone who they had gone online. Their boss was known for giving out gift cards for people when they did great. And this was at another company that I've talked with. And they saw a gift card in their email and they said, "Thanks for the fantastic work this quarter. Here's a little gift of our appreciation." So excited to receive the gift, clicked the link, and then it told them that they were now signed up for mandatory cybersecurity training. So you always have to be on the lookout for anything that may look suspicious. Verify before you click those links. And then if you see it, report it. And a lot of you, if you have any type of NIST compliance or CMMC compliance, there are specific, if you're doing federal government work, specific authorities that you have to report this information to. All right, so then this leads us into our next knowledge check. Okay. Knowledge check 3. Smishing is a type of social engineering that uses text messages to acquire personal information or access to your phone. Is this true or is this false? Again, smishing is a type of social engineering that uses text messages to acquire personal information or access to your phone. True or false? Our next knowledge check, number 4. If you receive a smishing text, you should. The first selection is call the number and give them a piece of your mind. The second is do not respond and delete the text. And the third selection is forward the text to others and keep it going. Again, if you receive a smishing text, you should. The first selection is call the number and give them a piece of your mind. The second is do not respond and delete the text. And the third is forward the text to others and keep it going. All right, moving on to our key takeaways. Again, smishing is a type of social engineering that uses text messages to acquire your personal information or access to your phone, to your life. A smishing attempt may try to entice you to open a link, enter specific information to check charges, claim prizes, or prevent a consequence. And you should avoid smishing attempts by backing up your phone's data, making sure you have all security patches applied, using verified security updates from your mobile provider, and opting out of storing credit card numbers in your phone. If you do receive a smishing text, do not respond, and you should delete the text. So now we're going into our tabletop exercise for smishing. So we are still a long way from Kansas, and our traveling companions are begging for us to check our GPS. We take out our phone and we see that we've received a text message. And it says, and it seems like it's from your bank, it says, a transaction was made on your bank account for $461. Your account will be suspended if you do not click the link to authorize this transaction. So let's review the text carefully and write down any actions that we can be taking and what we should do.
So usually the thing is when you receive any message, first of all, even though from the banks or somewhere, you never receive any message that, okay, this transaction has happened and we are going to terminate your, never. Even though just go ahead with your banks, whatsoever the bank you're using. So the very first thing is these numbers, just go with the number. Which number you receive this message? Is this the number that usually you receive when you make transactions or not? So even though whenever you make any transaction with the Bank of America or other banks, whatsoever the banks, you always receive transaction messages, okay? So these messages are important. And the one thing is the very, the simplest rule of thumb, never click anything you don't know. So the rule of thumb in cybersecurity we use is you are only one click or one touch away to be hacked. Okay? To be open to all over the world. So somebody asked me, in the last meeting, we had the meeting, so somebody asked me, how can we secure ourselves? I say, just burn all the electronic equipments. But don't don't keep the ashes. Throw them away in the wind. Because sometimes when you burn something, even though from this ashes, we can extract some information.
Mm.
So they throw the ashes away in the wind. Okay? So this is the one of the easiest, simple example. Last week happened, one of my friend in the Chicago, Washington, he received message that he received one of the package. From where? From USPS, and USPS cannot verify the address. Okay? And basically he was waiting for one of the package. And he clicked, his mobile phone was completely hacked. Then he reset everything. But the thing was, I told him, did you ever check who sent you USPS? If there's USPS, why USPS is using the 757 or 858 or 7760 or something? Never ever. USPS never use this the number. Second thing is, USPS never send you flowers in the messages. There was a flower, one or two flower, and one was a heart, and one was the call sign or something. Never ever. And if USPS send you any link, first of all, they will never contact you, because once they receive the package, if there is some mistake in the package, they will send it back to the sender. They will not ask you to just come and verify your address. Okay, so then he was hacked, and he called me later on. I said, no, once you are done, you are done. Once you click, once you touch, you are done. Now, other thing is you can just recover. How can you recover? The actions you can take. First thing first, what information do you have, important information you have on your mobile phone that you can just remove, okay? Then reset your mobile phone, okay? In the factory reset means the very initial setting. So all the default, the softwares that were there initially, they should come back and then you can install, but never click anything. So not only one click, but you are only one touch away to be hacked. Your business is only one touch away to be exposed to all over the world.
So do we have any questions as of right now for SACDAR?
None of them have come in.
Yeah, please.
Okay, Crystal, let's do our transition. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Yep, it's following.
It is. Okay, so now we have reached topic 3. Phishing. You had me at hello. So social engineering that involves, let's see, sorry again, getting too excited. So social engineering that uses voice calls to trick you into providing personal information or installing software to access your device or network is called Vishing. Typically, the caller claims to represent an entity you know, like your bank or a government agency. Now, the Federal Trade Commission reports the 2 most common phishing scams claim to be from the Social Security Administration and the Internal Revenue Service. Vishers can spoof a phone number so it may appear to be legitimate, as we saw in the video earlier, where the lady was calling with the crying baby sound in the background and was able to reconfigure this gentleman's account and add passwords and things of that nature. So vishers, cyber attacks that involve vishing are very, very cunning. So vishing is also done using robocalls. You all know those calls all day long, every day, sometimes on your phone. So, and they're calling and there's the pause and things of that nature. And so some scammers during these robocalls or these phishing attacks, They may try to record your voice by asking a question that you're likely to answer with a yes. It could be, is this Crystal Nolan? Hello, is this Crystal Nolan? And of course, I am Crystal Nolan, so I'm inclined to say, guess what? Yes. You don't want to do that. Actually, what they're trying to do is record your voice with that yes, with that affirmation. And then that recording can be used to authorize charges and access your personal and your business accounts. Scammers love interacting with you. So the best thing to do is just not to answer the call. You know, again, we're human, so we had that inclination to say, and when these things first started happening, we were actually told, someone calls you, you say, please add me to your do not call list, right? But now that recommendation is out of the window, and it's recommended that you don't answer the phone and you don't engage with the phishing scam at all. I know I've been frustrated because, like I said, with those original recommendations, and someone's calling and I said, put me on your do not call list. No, I don't want to sell my property, or no, I don't need this or that or the other. And they call back 3 or 4 times, sometimes in the same day. I've had them call from the same company in the same hour. And I'm like, I just hung up and told y'all to put me on the do not call list. So even though you're inclined, I know I can be sometimes ticked off and I want to get on the phone and say, I said, don't call my phone anymore. That won't help. They will put you back in the queue, and then they'll get their other scamming friends to call you as well, right? Sometimes I think they do it for fun, just to see if they can agitate you. But anyhow, so if you receive a call from an unknown number and you think that it is a phishing scam, let it go to voicemail. Then you can take your time and you can evaluate the message more closely to confirm its legitimacy. If you cannot discern the point of the message, contact the information or contact the organization using information that you know is correct. So for instance, someone calls and says they're your bank. Take a minute, call your bank. Or as Mary said, check your account till you can verify that yourself and avoid lots of trouble and pain and suffering. Okay, moving along. So now, how can you avoid getting caught in a phishing cycle? There are ways to save yourself. So it's very good to be skeptical when trying to prevent phishing attacks. Skepticism is like prevention. It's worth a pound of cure. Being aware and being vigilant will help you stay protected when using your phone. One thing you can do is don't answer calls from numbers that you don't recognize. This usually works, but remember, these social engineering people are really, really cunning and they can spoof numbers. Another thing, don't give out personal information to anyone who claims to represent a bank, a government agency, or a company you do business with if you're not expecting a call. Okay, you're not having a problem. You haven't called your bank and said, please call me back, or you haven't called Chase and said, I need to talk about my account. Someone calls you out of the blue, be very suspicious of that. What you can do is you can tell the person that you will call them back and then hang up and then call them at what you think is an official number or what you can verify as an official number to see if they really do represent the company that you know, if they really are calling about your Chase account, they are really calling about some other account that you have. Be wary of calls that request gift cards, claiming you can claim a prize or fee, or also some companies will threaten your service cancellations, or they will threaten you with fines or detainment, even arrest. This is a ploy that they use. And of course, no one wants things to be cut off. No one wants a fine, no one wants to be detained or arrested. So when you get these type of things, sometimes it can actually kind of catch you off guard because you're concerned about that. So don't be caught off guard by a social engineer. Also, if you use an iPhone or an Android, you can block unknown callers entirely by choosing that setting within your phone. Some mobile providers offer a scam likely filter or a block call service, which I love because now my phone rings 20 times a day. I can see the 10 times that it's likely a scam, right? And I can just ignore it, okay? Also, add your name to the national do not call registry. That's a good thing, and that can be very helpful. Now, let's see. Again, we're human. No one's perfect. Bound to make a mistake somewhere along the line, maybe get caught by some really, really intelligent scammer. So what happens if I answer the call? So again, remember, we're in Oz. We're on this journey to learn. So in case you stumble on the path between Emerald City and Kansas, there are ways you can get back to the safety of home, sweet home. Now, if you answer a Vishing call, here's what you should do. Do not interact with any other automated prompts. If it says push this, if you're Crystal Nolan, push this button. Don't push it. Don't do it. Don't press any buttons or speak. Hang up the phone. Report the incident to relevant employees, to third parties, and authorities. Also, assess the damage and monitor your accounts. Like Mary mentioned before, when she got that attempt from Best Buy, right? For the person that was purchasing the Christmas presents in California. She immediately checked her accounts to make sure that that was not anything that was connected to anything that she had done. Also, it's very important, change your passwords. Change your passwords and add in that multi-factor authentication. When that first came out, I was like, oh, it's one more step. I don't have another second in my day to do one more step. But what I have found is that multi-factor authentication is very helpful. And it actually makes me feel more secure when I'm using my computer and when I'm checking my accounts, because I know they're checking to make sure that it's me, right? And unless someone has kidnapped me and has my computer and has my phone all at the same time, things should work out for the best, right? Also, again, it is very important planning, implementing your incident response plan. Very important. Okay, so with that, we're now at knowledge check 5. Knowledge check 5. If you receive a voice call requesting personal information or threatening the cancellation of service, someone is blank you. Option 1 is phishing. Option 2 is smishing. Option 3 is vishing. Write your answer in your workbook and we'll review that shortly. Again, if you receive a voice call requesting personal information or threatening the cancellation of a service, someone is blank you. Phishing, smishing, or vishing. Knowledge check 6. It is important to answer all. Oh, thank you. What a lovely group we have today helping me out. I do appreciate it. So, knowledge check 6. It is important to answer all possible vishing calls and ask to be taken off the list. All of them. Is that true or is that false? Again, it is important to answer all possible vishing calls and ask to be taken off the list. Is this true or is this false? Key takeaways. Voice calls attempting to trick you into providing personal information or installing software to access your device or network are phishing attempts. Vishing attempts. Remember that V in that voice call, vishing attempts. Vishing callers claim to represent an entity you know, like your bank or the IRS, right? Phishing is also done using robocalls, where scammers may try to record your voice to authorize charges or access your personal or business accounts. It's very important that for your business and for your personal life that you are aware and you stay vigilant to make sure that you stay protected when using your phone. And a lot of times we do integrate the use of our phone with what's going on in our business, right? Sometimes the two can be interrelated. So, all right, now moving right along. Okay. You and your little dog have finally returned home.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Okay, hold on. All right, now it's time for both of you to rest. Your phone rings and it's a private call with no name or number shown. You think it may be your paranoid aunt who always blocks her number when calling people. So you answer the call, and then there's an unusual pause, sounds of people talking in the background, and then a strange voice on the other line that says,
I can't play it.
no?
No, you're good.
Okay,
So it just says hello, like it
Yes.
just had there, and you hear those people talking in the background.
right, so yes, you answer the phone call and the person says, hello, 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 can you hear me? Can you hear me? How would you respond? What should you do? Jot that down there. And what do you think about? And with that, I will pass it back to Safdar, and I'm quite sure he will discuss any questions with you.
Yeah, before going to the two things, because I will just share with you guys my personal experience, because I have been in US since last 2 years. I arrived in 2022. I joined here, so the very first thing I got call that they are from IRS department. And at that time, that was my first year to apply for my, me and my wife and my daughters, IRS, the tax record and taxation. They did not have any social, I have only social, they did not have anything. So I applied for their IRS information, the ITI number, individual taxpayer identification number. So I received call. And he asked me, what's your name? I said, did you apply for this one? I said, maybe I applied. And then he was so legit that he almost got my all information. Almost means my first name, my last name. Okay. And then he asked me, what's your date of birth? That the bells rang. Okay. Why IRS is asking my means date of birth? Okay. First of all, why IRS is calling me? When I went to the IRS building, they were not supposed to get anything. They told me you have to send all the documents through email to those, the main office, head office. Okay, this was one thing. Then I disconnected everything, all the call and everything. I never took any call again. Second thing, last year I purchased the Toyota new vehicle, very brand new, 0 mileage and something. And I got the butler service, the bumper to bumper services and butler services, everything was covered. So I was, okay, I don't want anything to be with my family. And fortunately, the dealer, the person who was working with the dealer, he was one of my friends, and he knew me very well. So after 1 week or 2 weeks, I received a small, the receipt or something like this one, the postcard size. The red color postcard says that this type of insurance is not activated. Okay, so your bumper to bumper insurance is not activated, or the service is not activated. So you call us and give us the confirmation and pay us $20 so we can activate your services. Bumper to bumper service means if anything happens between to your car and they can recommend, so they can recover everything. And honestly speaking, it was so legit that I was supposed to call them last year. Then I thought, okay, why should not I just call my friend and ask him, does your Toyota dealership send this type of? So I called him, I said, I received this message, this is this postcard. He said, just throw it away. I said, why? He said, these are the scammers. I said, how they got all my information? They said, from the DMV, when you register your vehicle, your information is sold to thousands of people. They already buy your information, they will send you postcards. And till now, it's like the vehicle is with me since 8 months or more than 9 months. I'm receiving these postcards and they threaten me that they will cancel all my insurances, everything. Nothing ever happened, but I'm receiving, and they are so legit. Previously, they were like blank cards and only Toyota Center and something. Now they have the barcodes, all these lines, everything, but I don't respond. So these are the techniques people really use. This is all which I have to say. Please go ahead with the next one. I think next we have one of the PowerPoints.
So do we have any questions?
Do we have any
for-
online question? No?
No questions online.
Okay, so our next item is that we are going to,
Hello?
we're gonna be watching a video. This is by Prasad Sawant from a TEDx talk that he gave. But just a quick question, do we need to take a break really quickly, or are we good to keep moving? Okay, all right.
Do you guys know what is the weakest link in cybersecurity? It is not the device you use. It is not the operating system you use. It is not even the antivirus or firewall you use. The weakest link in cybersecurity are you guys, the human beings. Around 95% of cyber attacks happen due to human error. See, hacking is a difficult process. There's a lot of technical expertise and knowledge involved in a hacking attack. So what hackers do is, instead of hacking, what they do is they use an easier yet more effective way, which is known as social engineering. Social engineering, in simple words, is the art of manipulating people so that they give away their personal information. What hackers do is, they don't hack into systems. They hack into humans so that humans give away their information. Generally, a social engineering attack consists of 4 phases. The first phase is preparation or footprinting. In this stage, the hacker gathers information about the victim. And social media has made it very easy for the hacker to gather information about the victim. People post everything on social media. The second stage is interaction stage. In this stage, the hackers interact with the victim. They build a relationship of trust with the victim. And once the trust is built, in the third stage, the exploitation stage, they exploit the victims. And once the exploitation is done, like any other intelligent thief would do, they would just clear off their tracks. It might be deactivating the social media account they use, or it might be deactivating the email account they use, or it could be just simply destroying the SIM card they use. Now that you have understood the 4 stages of a social engineering attack, let me share you an incident which happened with me. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was scrolling through Facebook. I received a friend request from a very old friend of mine, Ajay. Ajay was already on my friend list. Still, I accepted the request thinking that this might be his new account. We had a conversation. We asked each other about our whereabouts. It was a good conversation. But in the evening, Ajay sent me a message. I started to read the message in Ajay's voice. This is a habit with most of us. Whenever we receive a message from someone close to us, we start to read it in their voice. So I started to read it. The message said Ajay wanted to transfer 15,000 rupees to his father's account, but he was not able to do so because of some problems with the UPI app. And he said as it was a Sunday, he is not able to contact the bank. So I was asking me a favor if I could transfer 15,000 rupees to his father and he would repay it to me next day itself. I could empathize with Ajay's problem. I could understand the problems with the UPI app, but I was still confused. Why is he asking me all this over a Facebook chat? He could have just simply called me. So what I did was, I had Ajay's old number. I rang him up. Ajay was completely surprised to listen to this. He was shocked. He was unaware about the conversation on Facebook. He was afraid that his account might be hacked. He said, let me just check what is happening. And even I did the same. I scanned through that account. I saw that the profile picture, cover picture, the bio, the list of friends were same as Ajay's. But the account was recently created, 3 days ago, and had only 20 friends. While I was scanning this, I saw a status update from Ajay, which said he was urging people not to fall prey to this scam or fraud where someone is asking for money on his behalf. Because one of his friends ended up paying 15,000 rupees to the hacker. She thought it was a genuine request and she ended up losing money. So what happened here wasn't a hacking attempt. Nobody hacked into Ajay's account. What the hacker did was a clever social engineering attempt known as impersonation. The hacker used Ajay's identity, his profile picture, cover picture, and he used his identity to ask for a financial favor. He used the 4 stages of social engineering attack. In the preparation stage, he gathered information about Ajay, his profile picture, his cover picture, his friends, and once he had gathered the information, in the interaction stage, the second stage, he interacted with Ajay's friends like he interacted with me. He built a relationship of trust with the victims. And in the third stage, once the trust was built, he exploited the victims by asking for a financial favor. And once one of his friends fell prey to it, she ended up transferring 15,000 rupees. In the fourth stage, the clearing of track stage, he deactivated the social media account and disappeared. Now, attacks like this are successful due to the human emotions involved in it. Emotional factors like trust, helpfulness, empathy were exploited in this attack. Likewise, there's greed. Now, I have a question for you guys. How many of you have received an email or an SMS which says you have won a lottery worth rupees 100 million and you need to pay a token amount of rupees 1,000 or rupees 10,000 to redeem the lottery? Similar kind of messages most of us have received, right? And most of us even laugh to it, thinking that it is a scam because we know that it is a scam. But there are some people who think that this is a genuine lottery and they end up losing money because they are not aware about the attack. In the same manner, there's fear. This could be a phone call posing from your insurance company and saying that your insurance for the month is due. The premium for your month is due. And if you don't pay it right away, then you might be penalized or there must be consequences of it. So out of fear of being penalized, people end up doing the transaction on phone call itself and end up losing money. Next one is curiosity. Now boys over here, I have a question for you. If you see a video on YouTube of which the thumbnail says, boys, please do not click on this video. It is only for girls. Then what will you do? Click on it, right? So in the same manner, if you see a phishing mail which says your Flipkart order worth rupees 3,500 has been shipped, click here to view details. Even if you haven't ordered anything from Flipkart, you will end up clicking on the view details button just out of curiosity to see what has been shipped. And you might end up downloading a virus or a malware or anything that could be used against you. In the same manner, there's social proof. Social proof is the reason why there are laughter tracks in sitcoms. If 10 people are laughing to a joke, you are more likely to laugh to it. In the same manner, if a hacker shows you an evidence that 10 people in your area have subscribed to a scheme, you are more likely to subscribe to that Ponzi scheme and you might end up losing money. So these were a few emotional leverages involved in a social engineering attack. Now, to understand it better, let me share a recent incident which happened with a friend of mine. So Nidhi wanted to sell her old television on an online exchange place. So she listed it worth rupees 12,000. It was an overpriced deal for an old TV, but she listed it anyway. She got a deal for rupees 12,000, but the person said, I need the TV urgently. If you are ready to give the TV to me today itself, I'm ready to pay the amount upfront. Nidhi was happy. She had got a great deal for an old television. The person then even sent her a verification proof his ID proof, which said he was an employee of some reputable bank. Nidhi then, the person then called Nidhi up and said, let's do the transaction in advance itself, so that it will be quicker for me to get the TV later. Nidhi said, okay, we'll do the transaction in advance. He called Nidhi up, he said, I'll send you QR code. He sent her a QR code, in which in small letters it was written, scan code to receive money. The person on phone call said, scan the code with your UPI app and you will receive the money. Nidhi then scanned the code, but she got a pop-up which asked her to enter her PIN code. Now Nidhi was a bit confused. She took a step back, like why am I supposed to enter my PIN over here? But the person on the phone call said, this is how it works. I'm an employee of a bank, I know it better, and this is how it works. Nidhi was still taking time to think, but the person was still continuously pressurizing her, saying that you have to do it right now, or I might get it from somewhere else. I've already told you that this is an urgent requirement. Nidhi then, out of pressure and urgency, ended up entering her PIN and ended up submitting it. The person then said thank you, and he disconnected the call. After the person disconnected the call, she received an SMS from a bank saying that 12,000 rupees has been debited from her account. She ended up paying money instead of receiving it. So remember, whenever you take decisions on the internet, take a step back, think, and then act. If you don't do that, you might end up in trouble. In the same way, there are a few other tips which you should take care of while on the internet. The first one is the whole purpose of this talk. Also, what I do for a living is cyber awareness. If you are aware about such scams, if you're reading about such scams, if you knew what is happening in the cyber world, you're less likely to fall prey to the scams. The second one is keep your social media accounts private. If your social media accounts are public, then then the hacker might be able to scan your accounts, and he might be getting information about your accounts. So if your social media accounts are private, you won't help the hacker in the preparation stage of the social engineering attack. In the same manner, follow some basic password hygiene tips, like using a strong password, using two-factor authentication, and also do not use the same password on all of your accounts. What people generally do is they use the same password on Amazon, Google, YouTube, Netflix, everywhere. And what happens in this case is when a hacker gets access to one of the accounts, he'll get access to everything. So please don't do that. Remember, internet is a jungle. So stay aware and stay safe. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is very common. This happened with me as well. I was doing my PhD in Japan, and at that time I was lecturer in the university, and one of my dean sent me a message that he's on the conference and he lost his phone and lost his wallet, and he needs money. And it was so legit because I already have conversation with him. Then I asked him, how can I send you money? He said, okay, you can send me to Nigerian account. I said, you're in some other country. Why should I send you the Nigerian account? So I called back to my home country, asked, where is the dean? They said, he's here, sitting in front of us. Did he ever go to the conference? He said, no, but he then realized that his Facebook account was actually hacked, and the people were using it. So impersonation, so see the fear, the greed, and all the emotions, these are utilized. These are the most common, the emotions which are used by the people to interact with you. Social engineering is only about that one. Okay, please go.
All right, so now we have our practical exercise for phishing. We've got one for phishing, smishing, and phishing. We are going to ask you to carefully review this email to identify whether this email or not is a phishing attempt. Again, look at the things that we talked about earlier and note down what items that you should review when you identify a phishing email. You have this in your workbooks as well, and because we are running out of time, we're going to quickly go through this, but you can take your time at a later date to go through and look to see what you've learned today. And for the smishing, we ask that you carefully review the text message and identify whether this is a smishing attempt or not. and identify what items you need to look for when it comes to smishing text messages. Right, and then our last practical exercise for the day.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith. I'm calling on behalf of the Huffman and Huffman lawyers. Your name came up in a deposition we are working on. We have learned that you have a warrant out for your arrest. We would like to help you solve this. Please call us immediately to get this taken care of. You just have to make a simple payment and the warrant will be canceled. You can reach us at 757-525-9802. Please do not delay in contacting us, as the police have issued a warrant for your arrest.
So are there any red flags in the voicemail that you just heard? What can you check that they mentioned to see if it's a real message or not? Yeah, whether it's a real warrant, yeah.
But if you have the warrant, you will be very much happy that, okay, you can just pay small amount, everything is gone. It never happens. In real world, never happens.
If they don't warn you, they're coming, they just come.
But you know, they just play with your fear,
That is
okay, with your emotions. Not only fear, but all the emotions. Greed, fear, everything.
So when we talk about the, we laugh a little bit when we talk about the scheme of I'm a Nigerian prince. But back in the early 2000s, my uncle got taken by that scheme and he lost a ton of money from that scheme. And I was like, why would you think that some type of Nigerian prince was gonna offer you any money? He's like, I don't know. I was standing to make a profit. So he got taken by that as well. All right, so quickly going through the knowledge checks from today. A phishing scam typically involves an email designed to convince you to perform an action. This is true. So those of you who selected true, yay. A cybersecurity plan should include training employees and security protocols. This is very important for your small business. You need to have a cybersecurity plan in place. Knowledge check number 3, smishing is a type of social engineering that uses text messages to acquire personal information or access to your phone. This is true, this is correct. If you receive a smishing text, you should not respond and delete the text. You can also report it as junk and block the call. If you receive a voicemail requesting personal information or threatening the cancellation of services, someone is vishing you. Again, anything that comes across as do it right now, take a step back. It is important to answer all possible vishing calls and ask to be taken off the call list. Absolutely not. Do not answer those calls if you see that it's scam likely. I got a call yesterday from somebody wanting us to allow them to fix our website. There was nothing wrong with their website. Gene runs our website. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. And they wanted to get our passwords and our account numbers for our hosting site to be able to access it. And yeah, so I was like, absolutely not. Nope, bye. Just hung up because didn't want them to have anything to do with our website. So practical exercise, the phishing questions. Again, we're looking at, is there an urgent action required? Has the email used an unfamiliar domain or email address? Does it contain enough content to understand the issue? Do the link or links look correct? And did the recipient of the email initiate a conversation? Go back, check. The smishing, is it an unsolicited message? Is it from an unknown number? Does it use urgent or threatening language? Does it have a suspicious looking link or a shortened URL? Again, as Safdar mentioned earlier, you can check those links that you get to see if they're legitimate or not. And does it request personal or financial information? 99.99999% of the time, they're not going to ask for financial information through a text message. It's always going to be another avenue of which they usually want you to go into your banking app if it's legitimately from your bank to do things. And then most times your bank will also have the notifications that they sent you via text message or email within the email portion of the banking app or the notification portion. And then for Vishing, look for, again, is it an urgent action required? Is the call from someone you know, or is it unsolicited? So I thought that the next story that I'm going to tell you was completely fake, but I found out it wasn't. There's a woman, she got a phone call from who she thought was her mother. And it was from an unrecognized number, and she answered it. She said, she's like, "Hey, honey, this is your mom. My truck got a flat tire in it. I'm here with the tow truck guy. I left my purse at home. I don't have my credit card. Can you just give me your credit card number real quick?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's mom. Of course I'm gonna take care of my mother. I'm gonna make sure that she, are you okay?" They had a little bit of conversation, and her friend was with her, and her friend was like, "Call your mom." Her friend was like, No, this is my mom. I recognize the voice." She said, "Call your mom." So the lady was like, "Listen, I'll call you right back. I just gotta go grab my credit card number." She called her mom. Her mom's like, "Why are you bothering me? And I'm at work right now." It wasn't even from her mom. And when you hear that, you go, that's a completely fake story. That didn't happen. But it actually did happen. That they have gotten so good, especially within the age of AI, at replicating people, their voices, their tones, that these type of schemes are going to keep happening. So that is a new scheme that is out there where they're trying to impersonate you to where they think it's your voice. If you want to take the final quiz, you will get a certificate today if you pass it with 80% or more, 80% or higher, I should say. This is the QR code for that, along with the link. And we'll be also emailing that out to everyone. This QR code is safe. It's just going to go to a quiz.
I made it. For the people here, it's not in the printed version of your workbook, but we'll be sending out the digital version that has both of these in it, but you can also just hit that with your phone.
Yeah. And if you
It's a Google form.
want to take the workbook and give it to your employees, again, these are free workbooks for you all. Take it, take copies of it, take extra ones if you want. Give it to your employees and have them take the quiz too, so that you can know that here's my certificate for taking this. It was mandatory for everybody in our company to be here, and I've already gotten some quizzes from some people who were actually off today saying, here's my certificate that I actually took this course. And then the number one thing is to have that cybersecurity plan. Make sure your employees are knowledgeable and have a plan of attack to prevent attacks on you. And the FCC's free tool is a great tool to utilize when developing a cybersecurity plan. Take the workbook that you have today that has these tips, that has these step-by-step procedures that you can do if you happen to fall victim to any type of attack, and create that and use that as part of your cybersecurity plan. And then we want to thank you all so much for attending today and let you know that on June 14th, we're going to have ransomware. We're going to do that again here in this building, in this room, and then of course virtually online. Do we have any last minute questions before we close out? We thank you so much for your attendance, and we hope you all have a great day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Gene, do we have any question online?
Only that I